hair like little Mary Lou. You know, that cute little blonde hair dude. And while we play games with the Pikachu, I'd look over at you, wishing I had those straight bangs too. From salon to salon we went, trying to tame the beast. We went through bottles and bottles of that fucking hair grease. I drowned my hair in pink lotion, oh, the devotion I had to it. Kinda like a blue whale to his ocean, I couldn't live without it. Anyways, I had better days when my hair was straight with no flyaways. Please God, don't let it rain today, so for once, I can go to school and slay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, you look good.
Really? Yeah, thank you. I think it's the light. I bought the correct lighting. How you feeling? How was your photo shoot?
Super good, so fun. His name is Canned Film on Instagram, but his name's Alex, and he shoots with film. So it's really cool. We did it at Chicano Park, and it's just like the aesthetic and the basketball courts, and I was doing something with like Fruity Pebbles and stuff. I don't know. It was just super cool. So
What was the theme?
it's for a brand here. It's like for this right here.
Okay, like wrist jewelry.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Rostaclet. I don't know. Let's see. But they're really, really cool. They're really cool. And like, I really love having something on my wrist. It's kind of like a shoelace. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the wrist. I like having, normally I have like those beads, but the wrist jewelry feels good. Something about it for some reason, it just feels right. Were you always into astrology, or when did that?
Like it started, but I've just always resonated heavy with the stars and the moon, and I've always just caught myself just looking up at the stars. And one of my favorite memories in school was like going to this like space, it was like this big blow up space tent thing, and you would like crawl through the tunnel, and then you would like, everybody in the class would lay down and look at the stars, and then somebody would come in and tell you the story about the stars. And I fell in love with Orion. And so this is when I was younger. And then
What state was this?
I was living in England at the time when this was.
I'm about to say, because that is not not an experience I feel like in the States you get.
I'm so blessed. I don't know how, honestly, like, it's just this huge, literally, like for one of my birthdays, I want to rent this thing out so like I can do it with my adult friends, because it was just amazing. And I was just always so connected with the stars. And so I remember I was working with Rove, which is like this, when I was a brand ambassador for them. And it's like a vape pen. And when I was in training, I had an event with this girl named Danielle, and she was training me, and I was with her the whole day. So in between like events and stuff, I was pretty much asking her about astrology, and she like read my whole chart. And then she and I will never forget, it was during a full moon, and I remember looking at the moon, and she was telling me all my information about my natal chart. And she like pretty much like introduced me to the rabbit hole. And then once I was with her and started figuring this stuff out, I just went down it, and it resonates with me so much. Like, I'm obsessed with it. And like, it's crazy because I just believe that when you really start studying it, and when you start asking your homies what their ascending sign is, what their moon sign is, when you start looking back to even your parents and your grandparents, and you start like asking everybody about what their stuff is, you start seeing these similarities. And then during certain seasons, like for example, Pisces, they're all about they're the dreamers, they're the creatives, they're very emotional and intuitive. That's this month. So all my homies and myself have just been having very vivid dreams and stuff like that, right? So like, everybody gets so freaked out about astrology, but really there's just certain energies that are at play. If you're aware of what they are, you can work with them and ride the wave. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing crazy. It's just is what it is. It's just like, this is the energies that are at play. If you are aware of it, then you can work with it. Sometimes, like, I just think everything happens for a reason. Everything's connected. And when I started studying the moon and the stars and astrology, it's like really has changed my life, and I'm a head ass about it. But a lot of people think it's hella witchy and shit. And I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I'm
So
trying
I
to make it easy for myself. So I want to know all the cheat codes. I want to know everything. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge I have in like different aspects, the better my life is. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it like this, like all of us are creators and all of us are hella creative. Like anything that you think about and then you bring in to reality or you make it tangible, or it's just whenever you think about something and then you bring it into motion, you've created something. So like it can be anything. You could be creating when you're brushing your teeth. You could be creating when you have a conversation with somebody. Like everything in life is creation. Like just, it doesn't have to be aesthetically pleasing, you know what I mean, to be creative. That's what a lot of people kind of get all wrapped up, like, oh, you're a creative, and they just expect you to be like some head ass that paints all day or sings all day or fucking plays instruments all day. And I know that like I'm like that, but the truth is that we're all creative. You know what I'm saying? When you have a baby, that's the biggest creation, is creating a child, like creating an idea, having an orgasm, anything is creation. So shit.
I agree. I agree with you in the fact that the little things are the big things at the end of the day. It's because, you know, I was either watching a documentary or listening to a podcast, and it said, what you sow today, you reap tomorrow. You know, so we are a product. You know, you don't get great music unless one day you learn how to pick up a string and you start playing the guitar, and then another day, or in the same day, then you start singing on the mic and seeing, all right, does this tone work or that tone works, to start a podcast. One day you get a camera, then you get a laptop, and then you see, okay, what website do I use? Am I going to use a FaceTime, or am I going to use Zoom? You know, and those are creations, you know, because you're creating your system. And a lot of people hear algorithm, right? And they don't realize algorithm is just a step-by-step process on how you do things. And algorithm is just, these are the steps, in other words. And you know, it's just fancy language to honestly hinder your progress, because you get, so like you said, the aesthetics, algorithm, you know, or even big jobs, you know. I hate to bring it to work, but in our in America, that's really what life is, you know, picking a way to earn the green stuff. And if you want to do it right in our country, then find a career, you know, or different skills that you like doing, and monetize them. You know, so I always like to bring it to America standards, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's the little creations are the big creations, you know. Explain, give me some, when you said like air signals and send signals, explain some of that to me. Explain the signals, because all I know is basic stuff, right? I just know, hey, what's your sign in these categories?
You just
Yes,
trying to
no,
get
no.
some
So
game.
first,
You're just trying to get some game that you can spit. You
no,
wild.
no. But I'm just curious of like, because I'm always in a sales mindset, right? So I think that a lot of times why we do things is just because of the experiences that we've had. So I'm trying to really see, does your experiences and like what you learn about, or is it just your astrology and then the characteristics of that astrology? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
So first off, like it's crazy because I do astrology, but I also do like Ayurveda. I do many different things, but like if I were to sum it up, like first off, you can break astrology down into like 4 elements essentially. So you have like fire signs, water signs, earth signs, and then air signs. So there's just 4 categories. If you just break it down into that,
Yeah, I
like,
didn't even know all that.
yeah, so air signs, they're the Libras, they're the Aquarius, and they're the Geminis. So I'm a Gemini.
This is my mom and my sister. They're Aquariuses. So they're what?
So they're air.
Air.
So think about air as an element. So of course, within the air, there's 3 zodiac signs that are in there. But if you can just think of general, like what most air signs are like, air, you never can predict the wind. It's here, it's there. So wind, it can be a nice summer breeze, or it can be a fucking tornado. Okay, it can go this way, it can go that way. Like it could be sexy and like if you have that Victoria's Secret hair, or it could be your hair is a fucking mess. Like if you think about wind, that's an air, that's the kind of the element. So if you think about people with those signs, like they're kind of fun and creative and this, that, or the other, but it's also unpredictable. Sometimes it's too much. They're not necessarily known for having the most structure, where, for example, you're a Virgo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're an earth sign. So then we have Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. Now that's earth. So if you think about maybe the way you are, you probably need more of a system. You need to see things written down. You're very practical, like, you know, like one step at a time, like that kind of person. So for example, an air sign and grounding could like balance each other out, where an air sign might look at an earth sign and be like, you're a little too stale, a little bit too concrete, where you could look at an air sign and be like, you're all over the fucking place, you're doing too much, there's no structure. So there's kind of like but then for me, I really value people who are more grounded and practical. And so there's always this sense of like, damn, I wish I was a little more like that. I wish I was a little more stable and practical and reliable and, you know, and sometimes people who are more earth and more grounded, they're like, damn, I wish I was a little more flexible. And so you kind of can learn from one another. Then you have water signs, which is Cancer, Scorpios, and Pisces. Water is known to be more like emotional, intuitive. So those people tend to be able to get more in tune with their feelings, where like me, everything is very logical, like everything's very mental. So it even like, honestly, with the elements, you can break it down to like even like what kind of exercises work best with you, what kind of meditations will work best with you. I have no water in my chart, so I'm really drawn to people with water signs because they teach me like a deepness that I can't really get from other people. So there's just so much to
what's
it.
Fire? I don't think you said fire.
Fire. So fire is Leo, Sag, and Aries. And so fire is just, fire makes shit happen. It burns shit down. That's where it's the shadow side. Like fire can burn shit down, or it can create heat to cook food for you to survive. So like everything has its like light and everything has its dark, but you need all of the elements for everything in the world to make sense. Like you need everybody, you know what I mean? Like everybody is needed in some way, shape, or form. So when I just break it down into the elements, and then within that you can do everything else to go down. Look, I should give courses on this shit. I just love it.
You should. I think it's a growing thing where as technology becomes more readily available, we're able to tap into it, you know, and see like, okay, what is this? You know, I mean, especially as like a male, because this isn't, we just hear, you know, what's your sign and that's it, you know, and I didn't know it gets broken down into groups. Wait, now there's another thing though, right? Isn't there somewhere it's like your chart, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Describe that.
So a chart, you have to put your birth time, your birthplace, and your birth date. And with that information, it creates pretty much like a snapshot of like where all the planets, stars, everything where when you were born. And pretty much tells you what energies you were born into. Like where was Mars? Was it in retrograde? Where was Mercury? Where was the sun? What constellation was around? And it literally makes so much sense. And with that information, you can go down into what your moon sign is and this, that, or the other. Like a quick way to look at it is this. Like your sun sign is pretty much, I believe, what you've been conditioned into being. Like the kind of like everything in life is about conditioning. You know what I'm saying? So like sun sign is kind of like your, how would I say it? Like your personality, like what you grow into becoming. Your moon sign is how you feel, how you process things emotionally. For me, I think as humans, we're very emotional as much as we think we're not. So a lot of times what people's moon sign is, to me, is what they truly are. The sun is kind of like what you put on to be, and then your ascending or rising, that's usually people's first impression, like what people think you are. So like if you kind of look at it like that, rising is what people think you are, sun is who you think you are, and then the moon is who you really think, who you really are, if it makes any sense.
Okay.
So we all have
and you need your birthday, the
your
time,
birthday.
and the place to get access to those three.
Yes.
Okay. Is that basically allowing, that's basically another way of saying, okay, these are characteristics that you have, whether you know it or not. I mean, it's not good or bad, it just is, basically.
This is what it is to
Okay.
me. I'm such a
Okay.
why person. I want to know
Okay.
why. Why am I like
Okay.
this?
Now
Why am
that
I
makes
hurting?
sense.
Yeah, it's just a tool. It's literally like a book. It's like, I have these feelings, or I tend to do these things, or I da 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 da. Why am I like this? All it does is answer why. It don't really do shit but tell you why. And then once you're aware of something, you can either choose to fix it or you don't. I will admit that sometimes self-awareness is super irritating, because when you know better and you don't do better, you feel like shit, because you're like, at this point I have no fucking excuse. I know what's good, I know what's up. If I'm not doing the right thing, it's my own fault. You no longer have anybody to blame. So if you have ego and you have killer pride, your shit's about to get destroyed once you go through this process. Like, trust me, the spiritual life ain't as fun as it seems. Like, this shit is stressful. Like, I'm just, yeah.
So why do you keep doing it?
Because I don't know. Because I'm a why person. I'm just a why person. Why is this? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Like, I've never been one to just be, you know, and sometimes I'm like, maybe that's the purpose of life, is just to be. But then another part of me is like, nah, like I just know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do. I know how great and I feel when I'm in alignment. Like, I know how amazing that is, and how I just feel like I can manifest anything. And when I'm able to do that is when I'm on my shit, and when I'm reading a lot, and when I'm meditating, and when I'm eating healthy, that great things happen. As soon as I start slipping up, bad shit happens. And so it's just like, just do what you got to do. Like, life is so simple. Just follow your code. You know what I mean? And for me, spirituality and astrology and Ayurveda, that was my pathway to get to where I'm at currently. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I agree with you on the latter half. You know, I think it is what we make it. And you made a point where it's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. You
Hell
know,
no.
that's the tricky thing. You know, it's simple, but it's not easy.
Everybody's
And
scared. It's fear. Like, fear is strong. I was watching this Tupac interview the other day, and I'm all about love, and I'm always like, love is all we need, love is all we need. But he was just saying how, like, when it comes to fear, like, fear outweighs love. And I didn't want to believe it, you know, but it's the truth. Like, if you fear, it doesn't matter what you love or who you love or what you want to do with your life, or it doesn't, none of that matters when you have fear. Fear is control. It's how you control people, is through fear. Like, that is how you control. It's crazy. Like, fear is just, it's the easiest way to control people, make them scared.
it is a crazy realization. However, at the same time, we can't be bogged down by it, because at the end of the day, I will say one thing. Yes, fear is crazy and it outweighs love, but it can't, for lack of a better words, it can't fuck with faith. You know what I'm saying? Fear can't fuck with faith. And at the end of the day, if you have faith and you put that over your fear, that's how the people who make it. That's why eventually you're gonna keep making it, because yeah, you know that there's gonna be constant fear and things like that, but you always have faith in yourself.
That's
Your
so
last name is
real.
Fate. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
At the end of the day,
Right?
we have to have faith, because at the end of the day, we're not in a caste system as well. If you're born in a certain family, you're stuck. You know, you can't move up. There's no upward mobility. You know, in America, there's upward mobility. Even a long ass time ago. Even when we were enslaved, you know what I'm saying? There were still a couple dudes out there, couple females out there getting to it, getting the bag, and it, you know, Madam C.J. Walker, you know, while slavery was basically a thing, you know, she was getting a bag. She was
Um,
getting the bag. She was getting to it.
there's always been some people that were like, nah, I'm not about to be controlled. Like that's for sure. Because I feel like slavery still exists now. It's just different. It's like mental slavery, but it still exists. If it literally still exists, like it's just in different, more subtle ways. But it's not even that subtle. Like it's if you are controlled by fear, like you're in the matrix. That's all the matrix is. It's like, I don't know, I feel like there's about to be some like celebrity astrologists too, like that same weird like hierarchy thing is going to start happening in the spiritual world. So where it's amazing that it's becoming more mainstream. Anytime something becomes mainstream, that shit's like a game of telephone, you know, and it gets watered down and people come up with their own shit. And sometimes people try to get too creative with the truth and instead of taking it for what it is, trying to anyway. So I'm curious to see what this the spiritual world's going to become if it's not taught right, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so to add on to what you're saying, once it becomes mainstream, then it can become monetized. Because like I said, this is America, right? So
Yeah,
you gotta realize that's a service at the end of the day, you know. So since it's a service,
I mean, but astrologists should get paid.
and I'm just saying from the standpoint of we have to you have to we're trying to survive, right? And some people want to survive on their passion, and some people see once they see that it can be monetized, it's really when it goes mainstream, that's when the people who aren't skilled or aren't passionate about it give it a try because they have a skill set, and then that's when it becomes diluted, in my opinion.
It happens every time we discover something and we can't just like cherish it for what it is. And like I love that we want to learn, but then we start manipulating things and then we start trying to make things. Sometimes I think we put a little bit too much human in things and don't let it just be itself. Like it's just beautiful, pure self. We just always want to put ourselves in it, if that makes any sense. And I'm
Yeah,
just like,
think about COVID, right? It did it in, I think, California when COVID happened and everyone went inside, like animals came out of nowhere, things started regrowing. And also think about Chernobyl, right? Chernobyl, the nuclear thing happened and then everyone disappeared. And then 20 years later, they have trees and they have animals. I mean, yeah, some are harmed, but they're regrowing Earth. You know, Earth heals itself at the end of the day, you know.
because if we let it do its thing and we don't like put too much of ourselves in everything, like the earth will take care of itself. Just like our bodies will heal ourselves if we give it the right stuff, if we give it the right medicine. But we just be out here destroying shit. Like I see litter everywhere all the time, and I'm always trying to pick it up and put it places. But I get so devastated because I'm just like, damn, like there's so much litter. Like people don't give a fuck. They don't care, and I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know, like why people don't care.
Gluttony. Gluttony. It's crazy that we've come to a point, right, where we're gluttonous, you know, and it's think about food, right? We're so fortunate we don't even realize, you know, and at the same time, this is how big empires or big dynasties, this is how they get crashed because at some point we lose the basic skills of what makes us, you know, or there's an imbalance between, you know, the people who build and the people who create. You know, that's another thing. Everyone wants to be a creator because we see the creator is the one that gets the glory, you know, and the builders are just, it is what it is.
You should look up, okay, so human design is something I'm also studying, which is really, really good. It's you use the same information you would with astrology, like your birth time, face, and date, and it's called like human design, and it tells you there's like reflectors in this world. Like reflectors, I think, make up 10%. 20% is made up of projectors, and then 70% is generators, and generators are builders. And when you said creatives, that's probably projectors. And then there's like 1% or 10% or something like that, that's reflectors. And if you look this up too, and you start asking people what they're in, it will blow your mind. Because like the thing is, 70% of the population are builders, 20% are projectors, right? Or the creatives or the visionaries. The thing is, a lot of people now want their own businesses. Everybody now wants to be their own boss. Everybody now has this kind of like, I'm going to do it myself, which is great. But at the same time, like some people aren't meant to own their own business, and that's okay. Like this whole like bullshitting on 9 to 5, like no, like 70% of the population, that 9 to 5 works for them. Like maybe not the job that they're doing, but they don't mind working 9 to 5 if they're under a projector or a leader that's giving them the creative freedom and also the respect. There's people who need and want that structure to work that 9 to 5. Like that's why it's sometimes dangerous to be like, be your own boss, like, and people kind of like almost shading people if they don't have that drive to be their own boss or own their own business. Not everyone's supposed to have their own business. Like, I don't know.
It's a lot that comes with it.
Exactly, but like the whole point is it's just that like we're just out here like forcing people to be one way and like shitting on others if they're not that way, when it's just like, no, like we need both kinds of people out here. Like we need every kind of person there is out here, unfortunately.
Yeah, to me, everything is mental. So that mental.
Okay, you know why? Because you're a Virgo, and so Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is all about the intellect, all about communication, all about thinking. So like Virgos and Geminis, like Gemini is considered the masculine energy of Mercury, and Virgo is considered the feminine energy. So Mercury, intelligence, logic, like that's like our cup of tea. That's our love language. So that is why you're like that too.
Okay. So damn. So maybe someone should just learn their astrology just so they can better. I'm getting like I should just learn this just so I can better understand maybe my characteristics. And
exactly. It's all about learning who you are. Yeah, that's all.
I hear people talk about astrology and then I'm like, but that really doesn't describe me.
What would they say though? What would they say?
What sign do you think I am based on, conversations and things like that? And they'd always get it wrong. No one really ever, when they meet me in person, ever would say like, oh, okay, you have Virgo tendencies or whatever the case may be. I've never really had someone tell me that.
Well, because that's where your moon and like your rising comes into play and stuff like that. Like if you think about it, like the fact that you have a podcast, you're very good at communicating, you're very logical, you're very intellectual. Those are all aspects of Virgo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Everyone of every sign is doing a podcast though. You know what I'm saying? It's not
really. There's some people, no, because have you ever had a problem talking?
Yeah.
Communicating?
You know what's crazy? I used to have a stuttering problem. Real talk. I actually used to have a stuttering problem up until probably sophomore year of college when I started selling knives, prior to that, that's how life is so full circle, you know what I'm saying? Where I actually used to get nervous. Public speaking was not my thing.
Same though, like honestly, same. And I'm like, I used to go to speech class. I still fuck up with saying certain words and stuff. So like, just because when
speech
I mean
imperfection, that's what I realized. Speech is imperfection.
And when I mean communication, I don't necessarily mean verbal. It could be nonverbal. It could be like verbal. It could be through text. My whole point is that as long as I've known you, you've always been good at getting your point across, communicating in some way. And so maybe not necessarily, it doesn't have to be verbal. You know what I'm saying?
But okay. That makes sense. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Okay.
I feel like
So
you probably have some Sagittarius or something in your chart. I don't know why, but I just feel like you have some Sagittarius. Like I don't know. Like could not.
I hang out. One of my good friends, Dooley, he's a Sagittarius. So maybe I hang out with him a lot. So maybe I get those.
I'll read your chart for you.
Yeah,
Just send me your info.
exactly.
I'll
Exactly.
give you a little.
Yeah, give me a free course before you start your bundles and your packages
No,
with what.
please, because I want to start practicing because I really would have a good time with it. I really want to combine that with Ayurveda. I know I keep talking about it, but
What
I
is
really
that?
want everyone. Ayurveda is like pretty much it comes from like India, and it's like one of the oldest ways of living, and it does it by doshas. There's 3 doshas, which is Vata, Pitta, and then Kapha. And
Wait, so what's a
they're
dosha?
also, a dosha is essentially it's kind of like
Is it like signs, like water, earth, air kind of thing?
exactly, and it's exactly Kapha is earth, Pitta is fire, and Vata is air. And it's crazy because, and then water is in Pitta and water is also in Kapha, I believe. But anyway, the whole point is it's crazy because, for example, like I'm an air sign and I'm also Vata, but like Vata, it also can tell you what to eat, what kind of oils you should use on your body. Like I'm very Vata, which is very like dry. So for me, I should be eating foods that are more soupy, foods that have more like spices, but like not overly spicy. For example, when people have acid reflux, I have a lot of friends that have that problem, and I'm like, I guarantee you have pitta. So for example, I was like, you should oil pull with coconut oil because coconut oil is a cooling oil, where there's other oils that aren't. So with this dosha and this Ayurveda, it tells you like certain people, like if you're Pitta, for example, that usually means you have a lot of fire in your system. Most of the time, Pitta are people who are Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, people that have a lot of fire. So people that break out a lot, you guarantee you have too much pitta, so you need to be eating cooling foods and fruits and vegetables, and there's different things you should stay away from garlics and tomatoes. Like people that are burping up all the time or have acid reflux or bad acne, look at what their diet is, and sometimes it's too much dairy, tomatoes, and garlic. Just because garlic and tomatoes and onions and bell peppers are considered healthy food, it might not be healthy for your type of body. So it's like all these little like loop-de-loos, but what I want to do is pretty much create something where someone comes to me with their birth date, their time, their information, and then I get them to take this dosha quiz, and then with all that information, I can kind of come up with some sort of plan of like what foods, down to what music you should listen to, what crystals you should use. Like it's honestly crazy. It's like a whole little user manual of like how you should be to make your life the most easiest, because it's hard out here in the streets. So like
What you're saying and the symptoms and the causes, I agree. Because I'm having a little facial issues right now, and I think it's because I've been eating a lot of tomatoes recently. That's why you sparked me, because I'm like, wait, I just had some tomatoes, and
a lot, yeah, like it's like think of things like tomatoes, anything spicy. It could even be like, have you been more angry lately? Have you not been working out as much? Because if you work out all the time and you don't usually, there's all this heat inside you that you're usually exerting somehow, but now it's in your system. My homie, he painted his room red, and ever since he painted his room red, he's been having mad acid reflux. I said, you should color your room yellow because red's heat. So he's been having acid reflux. His room is red. He's been breaking out, oily skin. All those things is like too much fire in your system, too much pitta. So you need to do cooling things. You need to have cooling foods. Certain times of the year have that more energy. That's why like during the summer, people don't usually want to eat heavy foods, you know what I'm saying? Because it's hot. Usually people want to have watermelon and like grapes or all this stuff with water in it. So like naturally your body does what it wants to do and what it needs to do. If the more aware you are and the more you let go of distractions, the more naturally like what you crave, your body will kind of tell you what you need to do. It's honestly all it is about removing all the distractions. Once you remove the distractions, like you honestly like just know what's up, like straight up. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I'm intrigued by it because, like I said, for me, I'm into self-help books, you know. So I feel like you changed my perspective on astrology, you know, in the sense that 'cause I hate. Here's the thing: I hate when people say, "Oh, I do this just because I'm this sign," you know, and or when something good happens, it's just because of this sign. And I'm always just, I guess that's my logic. I'm just like, well, maybe it's just because
You you
the
just need
events
more knowledge.
happen.
You need
Or
more knowledge. If you okay, because the crazy thing is like it is crazy how much down to like certain days of the week, like each day of the week is ruled by a planet. And if you even look down to um like Friday, for example, Friday is ruled by Venus. Like I feel like collectively everybody just enjoys Fridays. Like Friday is ruled by Venus, which is not only the planet of love, but the planet of money, the planet of aesthetics, the planet of kind of fashion and like desire and sensuality and all those different things. And if you think about Friday, like Friday is when people would go out to the club, they get their hair cut on a Friday, get their nails done on a Friday. Like we're all such spiritual beings. We just don't know why. But if you think about it, there's just certain days of the week that people tend to do things. People are like moody on Mondays. Well, Mondays are ruled by the moon. That's all about emotion. So when we have Monday blues and people aren't feeling themselves on Monday, it's because literally it's ruled by the moon and that day is heavy for reflecting and just being in your feels. And plus you got to work on that day and yada, yada, yada. Like all you need is if you just have the knowledge and somebody to teach you and the right books that dumb it down so it makes sense and is relatable, everybody would believe in astrology. It's just not given to people in the correct way. But it's so if it was written in a way that made sense, everybody in the world would be like, oh shit, this is why. Because no matter what people say, we're always trying to figure out why. So if there was just this giant like book of this is why you're like this is why, the whole world would believe in this shit. It's crazy. Because every person who says they don't believe in it, when I have a conversation with them, by the end of it, they're like, oh snap. Like, wow, that and I was like, you just need the translation, the correct way. And when I was growing up in school, I got really good grades, but it's because I had to go teach myself, because at school I would just be sitting there like, I don't know what the hell is going on. And so I would take all these notes and have all this colorful stuff and everything. And I'd have to go home and like teach myself it. And I would get such good grades, but it had nothing to do with how teachers would teach me, nothing to do with that. It just my fear of being scared of disappointing my parents and I need to get straight A's and blah, blah, blah. And so for me, I have to dumb everything down. I need to know why. So I've pretty much taken something and just have gone on so many rabbit holes so I can make it make sense to me, so I can make it make sense to other people. My whole point is I'm gonna dumb shit down all the way because I need it like that to make sense. And I'm also very logical, like that don't make sense. Like took me a long time to truly believe in like a supreme power. I've always had beef with God. I've always been like, is this real? Is this real? Is this real? So if anybody's a doubter, or if there's anybody that needs proof, or anybody that's like, that don't make sense, that's me. And I believe in it. So I'm like, wow. You know what I mean?
why? Why? I'm trying to figure out why. Well, not trying to figure out why. I'm trying to figure out more of the build part, right? I kind of figured out my why as for now because I think life is like you said, it's chapters. How I feel, man, it's just chapters, and I'm trying to make them count, you know. And as of now, now I know my why. Now it's the how. How am I gonna build it? How to me that's always been the the challenge in my journey, you know. It's always the how. I know the why. I know, okay, now it's the how. How do I get to it? How do I obtain it? How do I how? Because you know, when you're in a situation where you want to achieve something that no one's around you's done, it's challenging.
Oh.
Is really challenging. And so now to go back to your music, right? When did you start taking music seriously? Because I mean, like, it kind of caught me off guard, honestly.
I mean, I've always, like, since I was a kid, like, music has always been a thing for me because I traveled a lot growing up. So my CD player was like my grounding, and music was how I would connect with my family, and how I pretty much grew up in England. And so listening to music also helped me learn more about America and how America was and stuff. And
From what age to what age were you in England?
I was born there, and I've just lived throughout, like, while I was a kid, I would move and live in the US, and then I'd go back and forth. And I've lived in so many different places. But last time I lived there was when I was 11.
Mm.
And so then I moved over here. And so I would just like listen to CDs over and over again. I used to write down the lyrics, and I got all the lyrics wrong. It's hilarious. Like some of the songs that I thought I knew, but I would just sit in the back of my dad's van while we'd road trip, and I would just like listen to my CD player over and over again. And then I got into chorus in middle school, and then I produced like my first track when I was like 15 years old, like my first on Audacity. And then I discovered I was really good at track, and so I went to high school, and middle school choir was so fun. We did fun 70s and 80s and 90s. And then I got to high school and they made it all opera like, and it wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't hit. So
What state was this? What state you go to high school?
I went to two. I went to one in South Carolina and one in Florida. And at the time, I discovered I was really good at track, and I just ended up having to choose between track and singing because I had to have first period. If I wanted to do sports, I had to have like first period athletics, and that was the same period as choir. And I remember I had to make that decision, like which one is like what I was gonna do, and I chose the athletic way, and that's what got me to college. And so for so many years, I stopped music. I wasn't singing nothing. Like honestly, up till like 3 years ago, I was doing nothing but athletic stuff and personal training, and I went down that route. And then I was dating like a musician and got my heart broken, and I was like writing poetry, and I got a keyboard for my birthday. And then like it just started from there. I like saved up all my money to get a laptop because I originally wanted to be a DJ because I was working at a restaurant and I was making little playlists for them at the end of the night, and I really got into it, and I was like, oh shit, like I want to be a DJ. So I saved up all my money to get a laptop because I wanted to DJ. And then I was like, yo, I should produce because then I could like DJ my own songs. And then I was like, I'm gonna be a producer. And then I was like, shit, I'm just gonna start hopping on my own stuff. And then it's just been this like, now I want a band. That's my dream, is to have like a whole band.
What kind of band? Like Anderson .Paak type?
Yeah, and like in Sade, like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I just want to build with the team. Like I just want a band. It's just so, I love performing with a live band. It's just everything.
So describe your band. What are we talking? Are we talking what instrument would you be playing?
No, so I want to sing and
Oh,
like
okay. Oh, okay. So you want I'm just saying, okay,
bass. I'm learning how to play the bass, and I want to be able to, I would love to do synth solos and shit, but I want like a drummer,
the
a
drummer.
keyboard player, a bass player, a guitar player, some sort of horn. Shoot, I want the
So
whole.
you have like R&B, you have soul, you have spoken word. What influenced that in like your style and
Uh, I think I just have always like grown up listening to so many different kinds of music. I was like a LimeWire like shorty. Like I was on there making mixtapes for everybody. I used to be on YouTube for hours searching for every new artist possible. I love gospel music. I love classical music. I love all different kinds of music that I feel like it's just putting it all together. Like and making it whatever I want. And some days I want to rap. And some days I want to make house music. Other days I want to be like on my George Duke and then just make jazzy, like futuristic sounds with no words on it. It just kind of just depends. But see, back to astrology, I'm a Gemini, right? And Geminis are known to have many versions of themselves. And so to me, that's how I am. Like, so many different versions. Like some days I want to rap, some days I want to sing, some days I want to do spoken word, some days I just want to produce. Other days I'm like, fuck all of this, I don't want to do music no more. Like I want to model instead. Like, I don't know. And then some days I'm like, I want to read tarot cards and just read people's natal charts all day. Like
Do you not? I feel like everyone wants to do that though. I feel like
but
everyone wants to just do, just be free. I think that's what you're saying. You just,
that's what I'm see, but I'm going to be free. That's the thing. Like a lot of people say, a lot of people want to do a lot of different things, but like I'm gonna actually do it and be it because I have to, or I'll be miserable. So it's the only option I have.
fate over fear. That's just, that's the motto.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, fate over fear. So describe alchemy, right? Why that title?
Well, Alchemy, first off, the Alchemist book, if you haven't read it, you should, because
I
it's
haven't.
just, it's amazing. Gosh, you just
What is it? What is it? Describe it.
just like, to me, alchemy is essentially like turning like metal into gold, right? So to me, I also look at it as just like how we were talking about earlier about transformation, rebirth. It's to me, I look at it as taking all the things that I've been through in life, like all the shitty things, all the bad things, all the good things, and using that and alchemizing it into gold, into my joy, into my peace, into my happiness, into my lessons. And it's just become this theme for my entire life. Like it's just it's even like if you get into Egyptian goddesses and stuff, like there's a goddess named Isis and she is the goddess of alchemy. And when I was trying to come up with names for my album, I already knew it was called Alchemy. And then I had somebody who's on the first track on Curls doing the sound healing. He's a healer. He came in and I was playing some of this stuff and he was like, yo, this reminds me of Isis. And then I went down the rabbit hole of Isis and realized she was the goddess of alchemy. And it was just interesting that I was so stuck on the book Alchemy. When I was trying to come up with the name for my album, the day I was trying to decide between two album names, I met a woman named Gold that day. It's just crazy how it's just it's really just weird. Yeah.
I call that confirmation, not coincidence. It's like you could take years to earn the money and lose it all in one day. You know, it's so easy to lose something. It's so hard to gain something, you know, and however, with knowledge though, I think that's the great equalizer to that equation, because if you have knowledge, you can lose it all and know you can get it back because you know the how. You know the alchemy, or
Okay.
you know the astrology, you know the astrology. How'd you find that sound in the first song? What is that thing called again?
Oh, it's a sound bowl. So my friend Troy, he really helps me with sound baths, and the bowl he was using is the perfect F, and the perfect F is known to open up the heart, which is there's also a heart chakra. So essentially, with that, my whole goal was like literally like open people's heart to the album and also heal them as they listen to it. So it's all connected, like, you know, each note on a key, like, you know, do, re, mi, or C, D, E, whatever you want to call it, like resonates with a certain energy center within your body. And so like music like isn't only just for entertainment or, you know, sometimes it gives you the words that you didn't know or whatever the hell. It also literally like heals you because we all have these little antennas that are just like buzzing. And so there's certain frequencies and certain instruments that literally, like, I don't know, give you a little whatever you want to call it. And it just opens things up and heals you and this, that, or the other. So with my project, I was trying to do all of that, you know?
It's crazy. Like even music for concentration, you would think that, you know, music would be a distraction, but there's actually something called Baroque music. I don't know if you're familiar. That's like basically, think classical music, like Beethoven and things of
You
that
should
nature.
listen. You should put in like meditation music for different things. Like there's music that's for luck, manifestation, for love, for healing your heart, for reducing anxiety. Like you type it in, there's certain frequencies and hertz that you can like literally listen to. Like I was listening to shamanic healing today, which was like this kind of like Native American inspired like flutes and stuff, and it helped eliminate anxiety. And I'm telling you, I felt so much more calmer, where I can meditate and feel high as hell, like straight up. Yeah, like straight up. So
Based on your breathing or
breathing based off the certain sounds you're listening to, like you can certain crystals, like you can, there's a whole thing, because there's a chakras, and like the chakras are all connected to a color. So for example, like your heart chakra is green, right? Like those are the colors. So there's no coincidence that they say like eat spinach and greens for a healthy heart. Like it literally heals your heart chakra. Like we're so spiritual, we just don't even know it. But like it's honestly like so simple as in colored. Like your solar plexus, which is your stomach, is yellow, right? If you think about foods to eat when your stomach hurts, whether it's lemon water, like pineapples, like yellow, ginger, like those help your stomach. It's literally kind of connected. Like it's just wild. Like even down to your root chakra. Like when a woman or a male or anyone has a UTI, they tell you to drink cranberry juice. Well, like your root chakra, UTI, it's all kind of connected, and your root chakra is all about like your security and your survival, and whether or not you're financially stable or not. So there's just certain like illnesses that happen, and you can kind of like connect it to what chakra, and then you can listen to certain musics that help it. You can wear certain colors, you can eat certain foods, and the whole point is that if you know some of these things, like you can really heal yourself. Like if you all of a sudden start craving certain foods, or all of a sudden your favorite color changes, or all of a sudden you're like resonating with certain instruments that you didn't before, like it's your body kind of telling you what you need. It's really crazy. It's just like I said, eliminating the distractions to see like your body's trying to speak to you, your soul's trying to speak to you. So I want to somehow bring this all together to make like a whole course about it, but just down to the fact that there's 7 days out the week, there's 7 notes, there's 7 chakras, there's 7 African powers. Like there's all these things that like collectively and globally we've all agreed on, and it's because I believe we all have this like universal love language and we all speak it. And I think music is the like secret code to like the universal language. I don't know.
relationship wise, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be business, whether it just be a friendship, whether it be making music, or we're writing a script together, or we're writing a business plan together, or we're thinking about marriage together. Do you think that like astrology and chakras, you think that you're better off finding as many likes or as many opposites, or like what do you sort of
I think that it's important to get to know every single person that you spend your time with, your energy with, your money with, anything with. And so to me, I do the most, and I'm learning about the person, whether it's their astrology, whether it's, I've been working with a lot of my homies lately because, my thing is I have so many talented people in my life that like we could really build empires together. So what comes with trying to have businesses and relationships and stuff with your friends is my nosy ass. Like, we usually have these conversations. Plus, lately, the more I've stepped into my power and the more I've like kind of truly have been myself, I'm attracting people that are like me. So fortunately, most of the people I've been fucking with and working with lately are all into this astrology, spiritual shit anyway. So my whole point is that we've been learning how to look. I want to open up a school and stuff and have businesses and stuff. And I would have like the teachers and the parents or whatever, I would have things like scheduled out by people's astrology signs and shit. Like, I would thoroughly have classes for all earth signs, all air signs, all, I don't know, like, it's crazy because it's just so just like hippy dippy and this, that, or the other. And I just feel so like wild saying it because I feel like for me to be like, I want to have a school that's literally based off of the things I've talked about today, it seems so crazy. Like, I don't know if the merit code accept it, but like,
I mean, there's schools, there's already religious schools, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what I'm saying? But like,
yeah.
Because like, down to like, there's certain signs that just like, for example, a Capricorn is somebody that if you want to make money, you want to get with a Capricorn. If you want somebody that's a good communicator, you want a Gemini or a Virgo. If you want somebody that's going to get power and that nobody's going to fuck with, you want a Scorpio and an Aries on your team. If you want somebody loyal, you're going to want a Leo on your team. Like, there's just certain like little like knick-knacks that you can just like, I know that if I want some creative ass motherfuckers, I'm gonna go with my air signs. If I want somebody that's a little bit about keeping the peace and the harmony, I'm gonna go with the Libra. Like, there's just these certain little like knick-knacks that you can just collectively know that these people are going to like have. And I've dreamed about having like a whole team or a squad where there's like one of every zodiac sign. And then we just like, I mean, think about it. There was like 12 disciples. Like, what if every single disciple was a different zodiac sign? Like, we don't know.
I'm asking you so much about it because I'm curious and you're knowledgeable on it. So you're making points that my logical brain is like, all right, tell me more. Now I'm intrigued because I like being open. I think that's one of the keys in life is being open to experiences and perspectives, whatever the case may be. And also, I think that's another reason why, because you're so passionate about it, you should try to monetize it, is because you know so much about it that you can teach it and you be willing to put the work in my mind, because you're a hard worker. You'd be willing to put the work in to figure out the challenges of the service. I think because at the end of the day, we all have to work, regardless. So it's like, might as well work on something that every day I get to, you know, talk to people about it, or every day I'm writing a book, or every day you could sell an ebook. You could, create a Zoom class. Literally, all you could do is
That's what
just
I really want to do.
Zoom
So
class
I need
or
to
a
read your
webinar.
chart. I need to read your chart. The location of where you're at, like, has everything to do with everything. Like, you need to know exactly, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, because where you're at determines, like, where the moon's at, what time of the day it is, like, what energies are happening. Are you on the East Coast? Are you on the West Coast? Or Northern Hemisphere? It all matters. Like, the
Really?
moment that you came out this earth, like, you went from, like, being, I don't know, like, it's just crazy. I think we kind of like downplay birth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for connecting dots. So I don't know how I got to that subject, but
Yeah, it's the past, if not unchecked, will be repeated. The past, if not unchecked, will be repeated. I think even genetics, seeing your parents and like how, whether you like it or not, you have their mannerisms. Whether you like it or not. And I've also seen it like in my personal life of, seeing people that have been away from their parents and seeing how they still mirror a lot of the things that they do, and they don't even have a relationship with them. And it's like that's why another thing that opened my eyes to like also is when I seen that, I was like, genetics is really a real thing, and it's important. It's not necessary, but it is helpful to know your past and, like you said, know your roots, because it is a good indicator of what you will and who you are to become if you don't realize
If
this is
you're
what you're made
deeply,
of.
if you're deeply conditioned, like a lot of genetics is real, but a lot of it's deep conditioning. You've been so deeply conditioned by your family and your family's family and your ancestors. A lot of it is just the deep rooted conditioning. I believe that if you can decondition, genetics play an important role, but like with that awareness and your ability to be like, I'm not going to let this be my same story. I think I'm just a believer in just self-healing, like hella. I don't know. Because
So
sometimes people will let genetics define them.
yeah,
No,
I
but
think,
genetics is a big thing. Genetics is like a
or yeah, maybe genetic. It's a combination. It's a genetics mannerisms thing, because
mhm,
I do agree with you. It's you, going back to what we said earlier. It's your choice, and it doesn't define you at all, because like I said, if you're aware of it, I know, okay, these are the goods, these are things I should be aware of, and I'm always proactive in attacking the things that I need to get rid of, the bad traits, because genetics is good too. It's why you have the positive traits that you have, and just like it's also a reason why certain bad habits. So I just try to be proactive in attacking the bad habits and keeping the good stuff. And to your point, genetics doesn't define you at all. However, it is real. It is a real thing to be aware of, and I think it's helpful. Like you said, if you're able to study the past, it helps you propel and go forward. You just to your point, you can't be stuck in it. Unlearning, that's the hardest thing. It's unlearning and to relearn again. That's like the how. It's like I know the why, because be real, like once you get 25, you realize, damn, all the things that are good, all things that are bad. And then that's when people, like I said, the people who make the breakthroughs, are the people that, okay, I'm just gonna attack the how one day at a time. It's not gonna be perfect, and it is a process, you know so stay motivated. Like that's why I'm harping on finding things that you like, and trying to figure it out that way, monetizing your passion, but also it's with a caveat, because not every passion can be monetized, unfortunately. I always say monetize your passions, but there is a warning, not everything can be monetized. There are some passions so that's when the research comes in. And but this is all effort and want to and will, right? Because a lot of people, like you said, who are looking or struggling, and they hear this talk of motive, they seem like, damn, it's a lot of work. It is, I guess it is a lot of work. Okay.
oh my god, oh my god, like what?
Okay, but like you said, I mean,
Healing is tiring as hell. Becoming self-aware is tiring as fuck. I'm just gonna say straight up, it's exhausting, it's sad, it's lonely, it's depressing. But once you get through it, it's all worth it. It truly is. But like I'm not gonna downplay this shit. Like it is all butterflies and unicorns. Because it's not.
no,
Like
I agree.
it's complete
Yeah, I
opposite.
try to downplay it. I try to downplay it. It is hard. It is hard, and
No.
especially too as like men, because like you said, ego. That's our number one thing. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of just shooting at your own ego and slicing it up and realizing that it doesn't define you, or I want good to define me at the end of the day. It's never too late to make a change, and I rather just be proactive and getting through the bad, because if you get through it early enough, then it's done, then it's over. All you gotta do is just do it, and then it's better than being, depressed. And I didn't like that, I don't like dwelling and also, to me, regret is worse than anything. I'd rather keep trying than regret, you know.
But some people are scared of failing, so they would rather not even try. You know what I mean? Like,
Why?
could
How do you
be
help someone who's scared of failure? Like, how do you, let's say I'm trying to help someone that is scared of failure.
how do you help that
How do
person?
you how do you encourage them? How do you help them?
Um, so I always would say why, and a lot of times it's a story from a childhood memory of being embarrassed, being rejected, not getting the validation, not getting the credibility. It can be small as hell. It can be traumatic. It could be a traumatic thing, it could be a huge thing, it could be dramatic as hell, or it could be just one little thing that one person said to them. But like usually there's like something that happened that person felt rejected or failure or embarrassment, and they didn't like that, and so they told themselves that they were never going to put themselves in a situation to feel that again. That's why I say the why. When I mean why, sometimes it's just like remember it, or sometimes the why is really just
To me, that's what it is, though. It's like, I agree that's the why. It's that
remembering
childhood or whatever, and
whatever,
so,
yeah. And then but a lot of times people forget, they don't even realize like that even mattered to them, or that even resonated with them, or it even began there. So a lot of the why I talk about is just the beginning. Like, how did I get here? Like, why am I here? Why am I like this? Why am I triggered by this? Why do I feel this way? Why am I scared of failure? And then once you can get back to that, I was bullied, or this one time, this, and then it's like, okay, now getting to like the deep rooted, like, I just ask why, until there's this singular, like, blah, 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 and then go from there. If that makes sense.
No, I agree. I really agree. I really agree with you that a lot of times it is the things that happen in your infant years that always keeps you back or propels you forward.
Yeah.
Until a challenge is, until you realize it or overcome it, or whatever the case may be, or not necessarily propel you, keep you going forward, but definitely hold you back. I definitely think that when things hold you back, it's definitely from youth, and like you said, it gets very deep.
It's so deep, or it could be like something that's not even like that, like, crazy, but like it really affected you, and your body and your ego wants to protect you. So it said, you don't like how you feel right now, so we're gonna forever not put you in a situation like this. It's kind of cute, like how your mind tries to protect you. Like, we get so mad at our mind and ego, but if you think about it, it's like, oh, like, they looking out for you. You're like, I know it's crazy and they got it all fucked up, but like your ego and your mind sometimes are really trying to look out for you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're just a little off, a little off with it.
We are always in self-preservation mode.
Exactly.
That's why fear is so controlling.
It's just time for me to get on my grind. I gotta get it together. I gotta bring it together. I gotta eat healthy and drink lots of water so I can just make it through these like days that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, and get my mental right. Like, I haven't been meditating as much as I should, and it's been affecting me. So today I meditated and I felt like really good. But I was just like, if I'm not meditating, and if I'm not doing what I need to do, and I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying, sleeping and doing all those things, I'm not going to be able to keep up with this life that I manifested, if that makes sense. I wanted more than anything to have like just photo shoots and podcast interviews and shows. Like, I'm living my dream. But the thing about manifestation is sometimes we don't manifest the actual, we don't manifest what will take.
The process and the plan.
Yeah, we like kind of manifest like the show, but we don't really like
how to get there. The how.
I've been manifesting, so I've been lately. I've been really like, I need to manifest discipline. I need to manifest
consistency,
commitment. Yeah, exactly. Like how
those are things I pray for, to be honest with you. The intangibles, because the intangibles is more important than the materials. I think also what will help you too, writing everything out. That's really the key to it. That's really the how is really. I was listening to a podcast with Jerry Seinfeld, and he's like, and I say write things out, right? Simple. It's simple, but it's not easy. Jerry Seinfeld said literally, writing is the hardest thing to do on earth. It's like you're literally, because astrology, words have power and they have meaning, and like you said, to go to the spirituality realm, they're spells. When people say I am, like
affirmations, exactly.
Yeah, affirmations, so writing it out, and it's hard to just write something out, to put the grind in and like write a plan, because it's also gonna fail, and the first time you do it's not gonna be the right one. So it's like, damn, I know I'm gonna fail. So how do I really want to do this? Because I know it's gonna take a while too to really get what I want to get and why I want to get there.
I write all my songs and my music. I write it down. Like I have so many notebooks, envelopes, random pieces of paper. Like that's how I'm able to memorize my music so quickly, is because I write it down. There's something about writing things that like truly help me remember it. I'm still old school. I've been using Google Calendar a lot though lately, because I'm trying to get organized. So I've been like putting everything in like digital form, which is helping. But I'm definitely old school a lot when it comes to writing and notes and sticky notes. And
I like to, like I said, I'm about the how. And this guy Jim Quick, he was like, it's something about writing it down. It's like a promise to yourself.
Yeah, but it's also how we grew up. It's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Learning. We were taught.
Well, not even, we were self-taught. Like you said, for me, I never I got good grades because I would just read the textbook and I'd be like, okay, what's going to be a test question? Like, what piece of information is going to be a test question? And I would like logic. I'd be like, okay, because my whole thing was the first test, probably going to be a B, but the rest of the test is probably going to be A's, because once I get your rhythm of like, okay, these are the type of questions, then I know when I'm in this book, look for these indicators. Oh, the dates, or the person who did this. I know it's gonna be.
I hated getting B's. Like that felt like I'm to this day, I'm such a nerd, but I was such a nerd. Like getting a B was like embarrassing for me. I was like, I cannot do this. Like, so weird. So I was such a little nerd.
Well, you say you're a nerd or you're competitive? You just don't like. You don't like
both, but was I competitive with? It was just like myself. It's just like I always just knew I could do better.
Yeah, to me, that's competitive. I
always knew, but it's just like it's kind of toxic, low key. Like I need to talk about that, because it's like it's that level of extreme, like critiquing, extreme pressure. Like no wonder why my digestive system has been wrecked my whole life. Like this pressure that I've just put on myself to just excel is crazy. It's just, that's another thing that we kind of like clap for, like people that are hardworking and driven and have this hustler mentality. Like some of that shit's toxic, okay? Like some of that is another way of trying to escape shit. It's another vice, it's another toxic whatever. It's just not alcohol or drugs, so it seems healthy and sexy and cool, but like it's equally as toxic. For me it was, and it's wrecked my health like over the years, and I'm now getting better at trying to not do that to myself. But
Yeah, because I think it's because we weren't told you're supposed to work smarter and not harder. You know what I'm saying? I think probably going back to where earth signs, right? We were high achievers and things of that nature. And since we're high achievers, you're telling us that working hard is the way to get the ultimate goal. And then you grow up and you have experiences and you get perspectives, you realize like, oh, working smarter was the move. This was an amazing, enlightening conversation for me. I definitely got I definitely am more open-minded, and I definitely learned something. You know what I'm saying? And also, like I said, I love your music, um, because it's a vibe. You know, too much too much rap
I didn't know
is.
your hair was so long, they'd say.
You know what I'm saying? Too
Hi,
much rap
yeah,
is
right.
not good for
I
the
tell you
soul.
this every day, but okay, whatever. I get to be like one of the white girls today. But of course, to my dismay, it rained, and like one of those photos you take after being detained, I looked a mess, stressed. But a new wave came through, God bless. So does spending too much time hashtag on mixed girls, media, hashtag like girls with curls, hashtag red flag. 3,000 followers, or 3,000 copiers, or 3,000 swallowers, or whatever fake life you want to feed them that day. So I learned my angles, had Instagram fame goes. Oh, 100 likes in 60 minutes, let's go. I'm really that bitch though. Let me stick out my hip and push out my lips and type a caption on some Drake shit. 200 likes easy, feeling like a fucking breezy. Oh, but post my art and those likes don't start. Damn, I just showed them my heart. Silly me to think they care about my pain. Silly me to think they know I do this shit so I don't go insane. Look at me finding more people to blame for all the lovers I had, but none of them stay. I'm just gonna smile and act like my heart's okay. I hope someone decides to tie the knot one day. Cause I'm really just a girl with a dream. I wanna know what life really means. And till then, I gotta love my skin. Gotta love my curls, cause I need both of those things to take over this fucking world.
it bars.
That was some real shit. But you know what's crazy? Going back, that was you reflecting on your childhood and getting rid of that pain of your childhood. You know, and like you said, like when you're older, y'all just hang because I look different. You know, honestly, because I felt that too, being the mixed kid, like in the 90s, 2000s, you're like, it's kind of we kind of anomaly. It's like a new thing, you know? So it's like,
Like I hated that. Like I was like, I want to be either black or I want to be white. This in between shit, like what's this? I either want my hair in braids or I want my hair straight. Like this in between curly, puffy, fucking. And it's crazy because it's just something that like it's just very interesting because I think that like in the Black community, it's very quick for people to be like colorists. Like if you're light skin or lighter complexion, you can't talk about shit. Like you pretty much shut up because you'll never understand the struggle. And that's all perspective because it depends on where you are. Because where I was at, like I was considered a darker complexion mixed girl. So little other mixed girls had their arm against my arm, like, oh, you're getting a little dark. Like it's interesting how you can, depending on where you're at, it can be like you just this biracial girl, you don't know, you've never experienced this, you've never experienced that. And it's been like, nah, like, trust me. Like, just trust me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I also think about it like, if you're biracial and you've grown up around a lot of white people, don't you feel like you've probably seen racism like right there in your face, and it probably hurts a lot more because it's coming from people that are your own blood. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very quick to kind of like sometimes take a voice away from somebody that they think can't really speak up on matters like that. So it was just important for me to be a voice for people of mixed race. You know what I'm saying too? Like, I don't know.
No,
Sometimes you
you
know what I'm
know.
saying?
It's because we have so much hurt and pain in our own thing that in our own culture is just being beaten and programmed and all that it's our culture is just so guarded, bro. This is that's why I realize is what it is. We're just so guarded and we're so hurt and we're so tired and then now you see it in front of your face and no one cares and you realize ignorance is prevalent in a crazy wave and it hurts and at the same time it's important that you still speak on it and, and to have courage to because communication like you said a lot of times people do vices to communicate to effectively really say how you feel why you feel that way. That's why people drink and do shrooms or do this or do that. It's to really express and really vent. This is how I feel. This is why I feel it. Huh?
No,
Yeah.
trust me, because like I partake in lots of things and it all be for communication. Like somebody talk to me, give me an answer.
Yeah.
Like I'm a mess, honestly.
No, I've been there. I did the same thing, and like, but it takes, I guess, the wanting to fix it. At the end of the day, I guess that's what it really comes down to, the want to fix it. Because I think we all know something's bothering us. And step one is just experimenting to figure out why. Why, and then step two, the how. That's it. It's really just two steps. Right? And once you figure out the why and the how, that's it. Game over. Then it's really just two steps. Why and how. That's it. But they're the hardest. That's life. And that's why people say enjoy the journey. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying pick something you're passionate at because you have to enjoy the journey. It's a process.
Or think about what you wanted to do when you were a kid or be when you were a kid. Sometimes that helps a lot.
When you're African American male, to me, honestly, we really don't have dreams of what we want to be. It's like entertainer, athlete. I mean, that's really what we're thinking. Just how I view it. Regardless, because I've always been really smart. Like knowing what I know now, I'd have been like, yo, based on my astrology and my skill set, athlete's not for me.
You're an athlete. Like, what do you feel like you're doing now? I feel like when you do podcasts, you're entertaining.
But mine really aren't that entertaining. I feel like I'm more like this is more like sharing.
Entertaining doesn't mean like making someone laugh or making someone cry. Entertaining could just literally just entertain. Like
yeah, I guess
you're in the entertainment community, and when you went to school for like kind of management and stuff, entertainment, like that is what you're doing. Like you're low key it's the same shit. It's just in a different way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I feel like it's like information. I like to
just entertaining too.
Yeah.
Entertaining does not have to be like Travis Scott at a concert. Like there's different forms of entertainment.
I agree now, but I'm saying like growing up, like growing up podcast is not a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's like having your own talk show. That's what a podcast is, your own talk show.
For me, this is more like self-healing in a way. It's just I like information because it makes me better. I'm the process and the logic guy, so this is like I said, I always like to speak with people that have information or experiences that really can, if you want to dive into it, you can take something from it and make your life better. Like my first one was my teachers, because there's things in college I wish, or in high school, like I wish I didn't have to freaking take out student loans. I really would understood, like, you know, the, there's, if you just go to colleges and, you take the chance to just meet with people in departments, there's scholarship opportunities. Or should you go to college if you don't know what you want to do? Why are you going to college? Because you're not going to be able to take advantage of the full experience. Little things like that. I mean, I guess I'm an entertaining person, but I don't think this is entertainment.
Yeah.
Entertainment should be positive. I agree with you on that. It should definitely be positive. And I want someone to listen to this regardless of age, young or old, to be like, oh, okay, that's what it was, you know? Or maybe that could be it. Either that's what it was, or maybe that's it. Open-mindedness. I think that at the end of the day, because you realize a lot of people's journeys are all interconnected, and or not even that, there's someone out there who's had a similar journey to you, no matter what.
True.
And there's gonna be better and there's gonna be worse. And at the end of the day, all three categories all got to the end goal. Whether you started out with everything, with nothing, or with a little bit of both. So, Rudi Fate, alchemy, healer,
Mm.
astrologer, model,
Okay.
hair enthusiast, chakra queen,
Yes.
tattoo goddess. This has been a pleasure. We should do this again.
We should.
And maybe part two we'll do my chart.
Yes. No, seriously. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm down.